Hey my loves, how are you guys? Hopefully you guys are doing all fantastic. If this is your first time checking out my channel, what is up guys? I'm Amy. If you're returning, welcome back guys. So for some of you that were on my live earlier, I talked to you about me channeling the wounded masculine, or an unhealed man as the other term comes to mind. And so a lot of us in the chat this morning or this afternoon, we're talking about how we pretty much attract the same type of man, like an unhealed man. Just from my own experience, for a very long time, I feel like I keep attracting men that I have to fix. And then when they leave me, they go off and get married. And it's this weird feeling of always, the last couple years, been wondering, okay, like, excuse me, what is wrong with me, right? Why is it that I keep coming in contact, you know, as an empath, as an intuitive reader, as a tarot reader, as, you know, a light worker, you know, as a normal person? Like, why do I keep coming into contact with these certain type of individuals or man, but none of them actually want the same things I do? None of them want to settle down. None of them want to get married with me. Like, I just kept going through, like, what is wrong with me, right? And it wasn't until, I guess, I went through some type of awakening or some type of shift that I realized that a part of my lesson, or part of my plan here on earth, is that I am supposed to guide some of these unhealed men home. I always believe, and I will always say, that I think that everything does happen for a reason, and I do believe wholeheartedly that we are definitely meant to meet people when we're meant to meet them. But I don't know if anyone else can relate to that feeling of, you know, you meet someone and then, you know, things are great, and, you know, things fall apart, things happen, and, you know, it's a feeling of, you watch this other person and you break up, and this person gets married to someone else, and you kind of sit there and you wonder, like, you know, when is my happy ending going to come? When is, you know, when is it going to be that moment that I'm going to have that, right? So I kind of wanted to bring up this video because, like I said, when I was in my channeling earlier, and I was doing some lives, this topic of unhealed man, you know, wounded masculine energy, was coming through the chat. So I know I'm not the only one feeling this right now. I know I'm not the only one going through this, and I really feel like, you know, this is just my take on it. You guys can take this however you want. If it helps you, fantastic. Let me know in the comments. If you don't agree with something, that's perfectly fine too. I'm not going to take offense to it. Like I said, it's just what I feel, what I've learned, what I see, what I've gone through. So I don't know if this video is going to help anyone, but I definitely feel like, just from seeing in the chat today, like, many people are kind of going through the same similar thing right now with wounded man. And I feel like, you know, guys, the world is changing, you know, the world is shifting. Very, like, the energy of the universe is shaping, guys. For so long, I feel like the universe was all about the male energy, you know, and I feel a bit of feminine energy is really starting to come out nowadays. I don't know if anyone else can see that or agree with it, but I'm definitely really feeling like there's so much more feminine energy than there is male energy. And I feel like the reason why we have so many wounded men, and I will get to a video about wounded female feminine energy, because I do believe women do have unhealed things that they go through too. But I was just gravitated towards doing the male version right now. But like I feel like, because the universe has shifted from the male energy to the feminine energy, you know, that leaves a lot of males being in this unhealed trauma bond type feeling. I don't know how else to call it, but it feels like a wounded masculine energy. That's what I'm going to call it. A lot of men are broken, and I don't feel like that's a bad thing. I feel like, this is the truth, and this is why there's so many relationships out there that are what they are. But I'm going to walk through kind of what I picked up intuitively today, kind of what my guides were kind of telling me. I had a chat a while ago with a client, a friend of mine, and I took some pieces from her that I really felt like I needed to express in this video too. So I just want to share with you guys, and I want you guys to let me know your opinion about it. And for those who have no idea what this is, I'm going to kind of explain in terms what the wounded masculine is. But other than that, if this resonates, guys, please let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Join the soul family. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. I want to know your opinion about this and such and such and such. Okay, so. What is a wounded masculine? Okay, what is a wounded masculine? That is one word we can say for this. A wounded masculine is how a man feels about themselves as a man. Okay, so there is a huge gap between how a man feels about themselves as man and what they believe it needs to be a man. I really honestly believe that if a man doesn't have that self-confidence in himself, there's a part of him deep down that knows that he needs to change, but sometimes they don't know how to do that change. They don't know how to get to that point of, wanting to change, or even, it's not even that, it's just like, they need to change, but it's like they don't have that confidence within themselves to do it. So when they look in the mirror and then they see with their eyes that they know that they need to be a better man, but deep down they don't feel like they're worthy of being a better man, that's what happens with a wounded masculine. And this can come from stemming of trauma. This can come from stemming of feeling unworthy, from being really, really hurt, from the puppy love stage, from, depression, from anxiety, from just things that have really weighed them down and really made them feel stuck. Okay, so a wounded man can happen with anyone, and I feel like everyone goes through this, male or female. If you're female and this video resonates with you, please let me know. When a man becomes a wounded masculine, he is lacking something within himself. And I really believe that to be true, because when I look back on my experiences the past 10 years, 12 years, whatever, since I've been in relationships, a lot of the people that I attracted towards me, I know that there was a lesson in itself that I needed to learn, but I also know that they lacked something within themselves. So we kind of both attracted one another towards each other, right? But when you are a wounded masculine, it impacts everything. It impacts your relationships. It impacts your mental health. It impacts your choices, what you do, right or wrong. It impacts everything. Okay? So that is what a wounded masculine is. So just so you know, it's a man that feels about himself as a man, and then what he believes to be what a man should be. Okay? So some of the things that, I have written down here that I kind of want to go through, an unhealed man, it's caused from a lot of trauma. Right? Trauma is big for me. Trauma was coming up. A man has to go through a lot of things to be unhealed. And I feel like society has placed this huge gap that men are supposed to be protectors, and men are supposed to be strong, and men are supposed to show their feelings, and men are supposed to do this, and men are supposed to do that, and I just feel like it has been this projection for so long that men feel like if they show emotion, if they share emotion, if they, that there's, they're going to be looked at as like effeminate or like a negative energy, or they're just going to be looked upon. And I'd rather a man that shows me his feelings and emotions than a man that's going to hide behind that. I want a man to open up and express how he's feeling, and without feeling like he's intimidated or being judged upon, or, you know what I mean? Like, I want a man that is going to be in a place to feel comfortable enough to do that. But underneath a wounded masculine energy is a man who has a lot of underlying issues. A man that has been put through the ringer. A man that has, just gone through so much that they're just kind of used to it. They're kind of used to, being strong, or they're kind of used to having things thrown at them. And it's a feeling of trauma bonds for me. That was another word that came out through this, when I was channeling, when I was feeling, dealing with an unhealed man is a lot of trauma bonds. It's a lot of, things that have detached themselves towards the man. An unhealed, wounded masculine, they deal with abuse. They've been abused, This could be from childhood trauma, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. This could be from relationships. This, you know what I mean? Like, the abuse goes so many different categories, right? When you get yourself involved with a wounded man, you have to realize that you're breaking down barriers, you're breaking down walls, and it's not going to be something that happens overnight. But when a man reaches a high, divine, valuable woman, and he's got wounded masculine energies, and he's got issues, and he can't intimidate her, or he can't do what he's done with everyone else, I believe wholeheartedly that will make a man change for the better, is when he realizes that he can't play those certain games. Okay? A man that is a wounded masculine energy, he's got a lack of willing, right? Why does he need to change? If you sit and think about it, if a man gets away with what he's been getting away with, the only person that man is going to change for is the one that he wants to change for. A wounded masculine cannot be faithful to no one else but a high, divine, feminine woman. And that's what I honestly feel. Because I'm not saying that low vibrational women are easy, or they like to be cheated on, or any of that stuff. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that as a high, valuable, divine, feminine woman, we carry ourselves with such light that it's different than a low vibrational woman. Most people will not agree with that, and that's perfectly fine. That's just my opinion. That's how I see things. That's how I view things. But there's such an intimidation level between a low vibrational woman and a high vibrational woman. Just like there's, an energy around a low vibrational man and a high vibrational man. You can't do to a low vibrational man what you could do to a high vibrational. You can't do to a high vibrational what you can do to a low vibrational. You just can't. A low vibrational person, whether it's a man or a woman, they're easily being able to be manipulative because they either don't know how else, or they just accept, or that they're just not strong enough to overcome that yet. Ego plays a huge part in the wounded masculine, guys. A huge part in this. Okay? An ego, wounded masculine energy has been challenged in their life, has been challenged. They are stubborn. So if you are dealing with a man right now who is stubborn, who, the lack of communication is not there, I'm telling you, this man probably has got a wounded masculine energy going on. They're also very embarrassed, right? Not only are they dealing with ego issues, stubbornness, but they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed because they're like, damn, I gotta step up my game. I can't play these same games like I did before. I gotta step up my game, so I can't deal with this low vibrational woman when she's actually a high vibrational woman. So he probably came into your life, for whoever needs to hear this, and was like, oh, I can get away with the stuff that I used to do with all these other people. Well, no, you can't. Right? You can't step to me like you've stepped to other people, because one, I don't play that game, and two, I'm not afraid to walk out the door. So I feel like when a strong, divine, high divine woman places those boundaries or places those standards, gets a wounded man, it feels like, he either is going to step up and he's going to change his ways, or he will go to a low vibrational woman. And I mean, at the end of the day, these wounded masculine energies now are being trauma forced and trauma faced and forced by spirit to change. I feel like a lot of them are changing, and I feel like a lot of your divine masculines are definitely shifting. They're definitely going through a lot of things. They've got no admittance. they don't take accountability for what they're doing. They're macho. They got this macho attitude, like, I'm better, and, I don't need you, and blah, blah, blah. But that's the wounded ego, right? So I feel like as a high divine feminine, we're kind of in this area of, like, shut up or put up, right? Like, you either show me what I need to see, or you can go, right? And I feel like as a wounded divine masculine, they're so easily gotten away with so much. And just seeing, like, the different people today that I was talking to about this, and it's a recurring thing with a lot of divine masculines, that this is something that's actually occurring. This is something that's actually happening, right? So it's time to lay the ego down, divine masculines. If you're watching this and you're a wounded masculine that has a wounded energy, it's time to put the ego down. Those who must awake are going to awake during this shift. Those that need to change are going to change. Those that want to change are going to change. Alright? I feel like a lot of people are being challenged right now. A lot of people are going from low vibrational to high vibrational, and that's a lot to do with the divine feminines. That's a lot to do with the shifts. But for those of you, this is what's happening. These unhealed men have abuse, they have triggers, they have low self-esteem, they have low confidence. They're dealing with ego issues, they're dealing with, trauma, they're dealing with being stubborn, being embarrassed, being challenged, being manipulative, manipulating situations. Like, the list just goes on, guys. The list goes on. So the one thing I want to say to you guys as a divine feminine is that if you're dealing with this type of energy, if you're dealing with a divine masculine who's in this state, I'm not saying leave him. I'm saying you're going to need to be patient. You're going to need to understand that this man's coming from trauma. He's coming from, being put through what he's been put through, the trauma, the abuse, whatever he's been put through. And that's not to say that your feelings aren't validated, because I definitely feel that that's what makes you different than a low vibrational people or another low vibrational person, is when you're more high valued, you won't put up with as much as you would if you're low vibrational. So with the unhealed man, the wounded masculine energy, with all this triggering wrong, with all this intimidation, with all this low vibration, with all this, levels that have shifted, these divine masculines are being put in a place where it's like, you got to make some choices, because what you're doing is not working. You're not fixing yourself. You're not, helping the situation. You're going to lose what it is that you really want. You're going to lose what it is that you're really, like, working towards. And it just feels to me like a lot of us as divine feminines, we're going through this with the divine males, where they've been hurt, they've gotten away with things, and, they meet new people, they step into relationships thinking that they can do that, but they can't. Alright, so there's a lot of changes coming ahead for the divine masculine. There's a lot of things coming ahead for the wounded masculine energy. And like I said, this afternoon I was just channeled to kind of talk about this. A lot of people are going through it. They don't understand. A lot of you think that there's something wrong with you, but there's nothing wrong with you. I feel like everything is a lesson. Everyone comes into our life for a reason, and I feel like once you learn yourself, and once you start to really love yourself, and you start to really go within, you start to accept certain things, and then there's a bunch of things that you will not accept. And I feel like as a high valuable woman, we are starting to put our foot down and say, like, it's time to shut up or put up, And I think that's going to change the dynamics of the divine masculine. I think that's going to change the dynamics of the world, and how certain things are coming back around. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have, guys. That's pretty much what I channeled. I know there's a lot more I could probably talk about, but I just wanted to kind of do a quick video of what I was feeling, because I know a bunch of you were kind of going through this whole, experience alongside me, and it's nice just to know that someone else is feeling what you're feeling. So guys, please let me know in the comments how this video worked for you. Let me know if it made sense. Let me know if you have any other questions. I'll be more than happy to discuss some stuff with you guys. Drop a comment, drop a heart, drop a like. And just let me know your opinions on this, really, because this is one of those videos that I would love input. I would love for you guys to like tell me how you're feeling about this situation and if this is something you're even going through. All right, my loves. With that, I'm going to end it here, but please like, please subscribe, let me know, and I will chit chat with you guys soon. Okay, guys, take care.